My name is Jim Gucker. I'm the owner of Accurate Boiler and Burner. I've been in the boiler and burner service industry for 29 years, and typically I've never gotten exposed to or involved with any of the chemical treatment people because I feel that it's never really solved the problem correctly. But now being exposed to Aqua, I've seen it in applications, I've seen it installed and working, and it's done just a great job.
My name is Ron Johnson. I'm the maintenance manager for Meredith College. The university was approached about the Aqua system by our boiler service company, Accurate Boiler. We had been traditionally using water treatment to take care of the plant. Jim Drucker from Accurate Boiler was kind enough to take us out to a company that had been using Aqua for 10 plus years. Spoke with their maintenance reps, and the only thing that they were doing was adding algicide to the cooling towers. And on discussing it with the school, looking at the money that we could save, we decided to go with the Aqua system.
The Aquas have certainly have removed the scale. We've seen boilers that have been in operation for over 11 years, and right as they were opened up, I saw them and they were spotless.
I was on one job a few years back. The chiller was 10 years old, and it was amazing how clean the tubes were. And I asked the man what kind of chemicals they used in the machine, or who did the water treatment. And he said they didn't have any. They had Aquas on the machine, and they looked like they were brand new. So I was really, really impressed by that.
We have been using Aquas since 1988. Being the Director of Maintenance Services for Starmount, I oversee approximately 2 million square feet of retail and Class A office. The Aquas have been installed in our buildings. We started in a mall in '88. They are now put on all of our Class A buildings that has cooling towers. They've performed so well that we now write them into our specs for any new buildings that is built that has a cooling tower system.
I've been involved with eddy current for approximately 26 years, and anybody that's been involved with any type of eddy current testing will know that scale and buildup in the tubes is one of the major factors that affect your eddy currents. Problem with the machines that we do is the buildup. In fact, we had a nuclear plant last week that had I called some pits in there. We ran a bore scope through there. There was some small pits in there, but the rifling in the tube was just so much buildup you could hardly see the rifling for the buildup in the tube. Mm-hmm. And I think the problem with that is they don't never adjust the chemicals, and they don't put the proper chemicals.
So see, but I don't care because we don't put chemicals in our cooling towers anymore. The only maintenance that is required by Aqua is the use of bromine for an algicide. We have our maintenance department check the TDS once monthly.
You instructed our people on what they were looking for. You're monitoring our logs, so if we do anything wrong, you can say, hey, you need to stop and go here. So we've got a 24/7 support on this.
Aqua has always been readily available, eager to help. Any problem that we thought we may have had, a representative was on hand within the next day to verify operation.
Chemical reduction, we were looking at 30,000+ a year.
And all the chemical people, of course, said it won't work. They'll come by today, it won't work. Test the water. Well, everything looks right, but it's going to come back to bite you. It won't work. I mean, but it took some convincing. But once they did, and once they saw that it did work, not to mention you don't have to handle chemicals. You don't get into EPA about what's going down your drains. I mean, there's just a lot. There's a lot of advantages.
EPA's issues. A lot of things are starting to change. What is going down the drain. So the less we use, the easier it makes it on us. We're running 2,600 ton cooling capacity on the chillers, 900 horsepower total capacity for the boilers. I was thinking the results would be maybe a 6-month period. We started seeing a rise in the pH for the boiler systems in less than a month.
We had a decorative fountain that 18 inches of water and there was no clarity. You couldn't see the bottom. So Jerry said, I can fix that. And literally overnight, it went from cloudy to crystal clear.
I think this is a good application. It was a good investment for us.
This is a product that I could recommend to anyone.
In today's environment, it is important to understand that water can and does keep itself clean if given the opportunity. We've often heard this referred to as the chemistry of water. The fact is that chemistry has nothing to do with it. Have you ever seen an unpolluted mountain stream that needed treatment for scale or corrosion? Neither have I. Clean water in its natural state is a result of purely physical reactions. Water running over ground negative should always be crystal clear. The reason is simple. A basic law of physics states, opposites attract, similarities repel. As you can see, flowing water carries a measurable positive electrical charge. You'll notice that the positive red lead on this ordinary multimeter is immersed in the flowing water, and the negative black lead is buried in the negative earth. The result is a measured positive electrical charge. When that positive lead is placed in a calm standing pool of water, the positive charge disappears and a negative measurement is registered. Let's look at an animated version of that mountain stream. The ground is negative and the flowing water is positive. To realize the physical reactions that take place in water, we first need to examine the physical properties of a water molecule. A water molecule consists of one negative atom of oxygen and two positive atoms of hydrogen, and is commonly referred to as H2O. The positive hydrogen atoms react with everything negative, and the negative oxygen atom reacts with everything positive. This defines water as a dipolar molecule. Water is often called the universal solvent, and what is dissolved in water can corrode and foul equipment and become a source of disease and pollution. These dissolved solids create the need for the treatment of water in almost all water systems. Let's look at what happens when water is harnessed and forced through a pipe. As soon as water enters the pipe, a frictional interface occurs where pipe and water meet. That frictional interface is known as the inner layer, where the positive hydrogen is immediately attracted to the ground negative pipe. As the outer layer passes over the inner layer, the hydrogen bonding is pulled apart, forcing positive hydrogen ions onto the pipe's surface. This action creates a positive charge on the pipe's interior, and it acts as a magnet for all the negative ions in the water. The result is that negative oxygen atoms search for, attach themselves to, and begin to attack the pipe. This causes oxidation, resulting in pitting and corrosion. At the same time, the other negative ions are pulled towards that positive pipe and attach themselves, mostly in the form of calcium carbonate, commonly referred to as scale. And now, the physical reactions that are taking place must be treated by man-made methods, and only now do we begin to need the chemistry of water, a constant balancing act between the chemical additions of acids and alkalins. The challenges with this balancing act are evident in the re-tubed boilers and condensers, and the junkyards filled with equipment no longer able to be retubed. It wasn't until the invention of the patented Aqua system that the perfect balance was achieved. Aquas have negated the need for the balancing act by utilizing the laws of physics and recognizing how to employ a portion of Faraday's law. In order to create a Faraday's generator, a minimum of 10,000 Gauss flux density is required at the point of entry. Anything less would be absorbed by the steel pipe. Each Aqua amplification unit carries a Gauss flux density of 22,447, certified by Midwest Industries, an independent testing lab, and more than enough to create the required penetration of a steel pipe. The Bonaqua amplification and focused magnetic influence is the core of the Bonaqua patent. As the flowing water passes through that magnetic field, it ionizes, and a static electrical charge, or an impressed current, is induced into the water. We then reground the pipe negative, and, as a result, create a Faraday's generator, with the water being the armature and the pipe becoming the field coil. As long as the water is flowing, that generator is in operation, taking us back to the same physical environment we found in the mountain stream. As some of the water molecules ionize, one of the hydrogen atoms actually dissociates from the water molecule and searches for the negative pipe, leaving behind a pH-raising hydroxyl ion. When the hydrogen reaches the pipe, it attaches itself and forms a hydronium bond around the interior of the pipe. It literally dissolves the scale back into the water in the form of aragonite, molecule by molecule, the same way scale is formed. Because it removes the scale a molecule at a time, it is impossible to tell how long it will take for total scale removal. Once removal has been accomplished, however, the system will remain scale-free. Bonaqua raised the pH level well above the 7 neutral by increasing hydroxyl ion concentration in the water, usually stabilizing between 8 and 9 in a cooling system and between 9 and 11 in a boiler system. In a properly maintained Bonaqua system, however, it does not matter how high the pH level rises, because scale cannot attach itself to a negative pipe. While the pH level remains above the pH neutral, the negative oxygen is also constantly repelled by the ground negative pipe, negating oxidation or corrosion. The Bonaqua process has, in fact, cathodically protected the pipe. At present, you're probably treating your system with expensive, toxic chemicals that try to do the same thing that Bonaquas do automatically, every single time. The major difference is that Bonaquas do it in a much more sophisticated manner, by using the water's own physical properties to regain and maintain its original pristine properties. Engineers and managers throughout the world appreciate the simplicity and effectiveness of the Bonaqua technology. Some of the benefits are obvious, but there are other exceptionally noteworthy considerations for choosing the Bonaqua treatment. 1. Substantial water savings. 2. Significant energy savings. 3. An end to recurring chemical costs due to scale, pitting, or general corrosion. 4. Environmental compliance. 5. A decrease in maintenance and repair. And 6. Increased asset life. Let's discuss how these benefits take place and how you can take advantage of them.